Let's go! January 8th, 1:21 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 1. So we're finally gonna see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick. Wish I could agree. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godot picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. You mean you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but if that's the line that the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get a feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe! What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Topknot. It's not a top knot! Never mind about the hair, just calm down. Never mind about the hair, just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I just kind of get wound up. Ugh! No kidding. You gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right? True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprints analysis done in an hour? You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? I think this is what I want to do. It's the only thing that has unmarked fingerprints. If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this? Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solve the last mystery of whose prints are on, or whose prints are on it. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me, too. Small bottle given to Detective Gumshoe. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys.
The court will now reconvene. Mr. Godot, did you find this Furio Tigre?
I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job, no problem.
Tamed him? The guy's name may be Furio Tiger, but come on.
He's pretty lively. Be careful, he still bites.
Very well. Please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation.
Rar. Don't hide under the table, Maya. Unless there's room for me down there, too.
Would you...
What you saying to me?
Nothing. I didn't say nothing, honestly.
Who could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge? I got business to take care of, you hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the Your Honor?
Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me. Just, carry on with the normal proceedings and all that good stuff.
That's it, we're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here?
There's no need to shout. We can all hear you.
What do you say?
There's no point struggling. You're caught in the snare. The relentless snare of the law. And I'm the one that hauled you in.
Too cool. Don't let him get the better of you, Nick.
Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct?
Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, mask boy.
You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird?
Maggie who? I got more important things to do than watch the courtroom dramas.
Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then? Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder.
Phoenix Wright. You was the one who set all this up, didn't you? You was gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Get a grip, Nick. The tiger's alibi. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all of my time in the office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. You want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please cross-examine.
Okay.
What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting like that.
I know the kind of games that the guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Lowlife? Me? Listen up, Smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000. And then you was gonna borrow the cash from me. That's one loan contract I refuse to sign. And don't think it ain't gonna hurt you when you get tangled with the tiger.
Ha! I love a good spectator sport.
Just a minute. That's really not.
This witness is, how can I put it, a hungry tiger roaming in an urban jungle. Get on his bad side and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too.
Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here.
Yous better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus, see?
The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. You can do it, Nick! Come out from under there already, would you, Maya? The tiger's alibi. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all of my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. You just want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta. Okay, I gotta press on something, but I can't press on anything irrelevant. So I don't think this is what we want to press on. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business since December last year. Spent all of my time in my office. This one I'm kind of peaked on just because we know he impersonated me December last year. And we can probably, we can probably get something out of this. What's the next one? I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. One of those whales probably being Len. But I don't know if that's... I'm gonna try pressing on this one. I'm nervous, but... Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know? You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? You talking about Viola? She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was.
That seems like a rather, sketchy schedule.
Here he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder, so now what? Yeah, I mean, we specifically have this. December 3rd, meet with the Tiger. I think we're safe to press harder. In case anything comes up. What do you want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail.
Objections. This is a dead-end trite, and you know it! Remember the rules!
No, it's essentially that we establish the witness. It's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately.
I agree.
The victim was killed on December 3rd. Were you in the office that day too? Maybe you ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before.
I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Godot, if you could please.
Mr. Tigre, the court asks you to add the last statement to your testimony.
Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. The day you was talking about, I was in the office too. I never saw that kid before. I never heard of him. Nah. Mr. Tigre, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glen Elg, but it appears that Mr. Glen Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the Tiger, dated December 3rd.
December 3rd? That's the day of the murder!
So, Mr. Tiger, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glen Elg. Because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. Not bad. You was actually not bad. Sorry? I was just messing with you to see how good you were. Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus he's lying through his teeth.
Witness, please remember you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated.
You's calling me a liar? Is that what you's doing?
Ruh-roh.
So you're saying that your claim to have never seen that kid before is the truth?
I said I'm dead serious. You's better believe that truth.
Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigre.
Oh, yes. Would you mind indulging the court witness?
You never actually met the victim? That's got to be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. The victim, Glen Elg. I ain't no liar. I never met Glen Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though, wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, 10 to Lenda. I waited around for him, but he ain't ever showed. I ain't never even been to that Trebien joint. You see ya?
I see. That all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up.
I heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead.
Wow. Very well. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Okay, we already got this one in the bag. Didn't I tell you I got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you, right? Ugh. Alright. I'm not a liar. There was some lame guy with that name, though. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office. I waited around for him, but he never showed. I ain't ever been to the Trebien joint. You hear me? I got these matches from Trebien from someone else, and not myself. They were a gift from my grandmother. Mr. Tigre, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What are you talking about? We found them in your office at Tender Lender. They're from that restaurant. If you've really never been to Trebien before, then what was a book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around my stuff now too, wise guy? What are you? My ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me. I'm the tiger.
Order! Order! Well, witness, I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Yeah! Sorry, I'm terribly sorry. Forgive me.
I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid.
Well, well. It's like an order just came in for another testimony.
This close to proving it was him. He did meet Glen Elg that day. And he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cop sirens on my way out, and I went straight out and back to my office.
I see. So you didn't actually meet with him at all in the end, then? Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Hold it. If I wait around here any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions.
No problem. Anytime Trent presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty.
Mr. Godot, that's my job.
Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and get a guilty verdict. So do it!
Yes, sir.
The Special Express ain't cheap, right? Just so yous know since yous paying it. Oh man, doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here in this courtroom? I was supposed to meet... Okay, hold on. This was found in his office. We found this in his office. Along with this. I think. Yeah. That's correct, right? This was found at Tender Lender. Yeah, it's right there. Okay, good. That's gonna be important here. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cops' sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. Okay. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cop sirens on my way out and went straight back to my office. Well, Nick, what do you think? He's running out of ways to avoid the truth. I need to press him fast before he thinks things through. Got to come right back at him with a contradiction. Be careful what you press him on, though, or you'll get penalized, okay? Alright. Bunch special, not relevant. Okay. He has to be lying here, because if you look at the floor plans, the wall is basically covering where the victim died. He would have had to have walked in and sat down, or at least gotten somewhere into the restaurant to have been able to see the victim. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. Do I press or do I present, though? I'm gonna press. An ugly scene? What do you mean?
Objection. The witness has already told us Trite, which makes that question irrelevant!
But... Damn it.
I limit myself to 17 cups of coffee during a trial. That's the rule. You better limit the number of times you take a penalty, Trey, or your guts will look like the inside of a chimney ashen.
Don't make me burn you again, Mr. Wright.
I guess I shouldn't have pressed him on that. Guess I'm gonna make a special express after all.
So to recap, this ugly scene you saw was...
The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I guess, yeah, I'm gonna go back a statement and try presenting... Let's see if it works. You're something of a loan-collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie-detecting pro. And no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight.
What is this, Trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning?
These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre? From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this.
Indeed. The witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat.
Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, that's not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition.
Well, why, that's true.
Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. So, from the entrance of Trebien, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat, but you did see the victim that day because you met with him.
Objection. Wrong! Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table.
But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim, witnessed by Mr. Kudo, was not Glenn Elg, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim just as he had just killed and acted out a charade. Scusi.
That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious questions being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glenn Elg, and that then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo? In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court.
I guess I gotta do it. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it.
What? Well, witness?
Oh, now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand. The tiger is the king of the jungle. So I dares you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts?
You can't threaten me, Tiger. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright!
Sounds to me like it must be yours, old man. He's got guts. I'll give you that. Mr. Wright.
Do not leave me to handle this alone.
Perhaps I can end this embarrassment.
Mr. Godot?
Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't see the victim. Oh, no.
The serving girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there.
Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee.
Yeah, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee.
Very impressive, Mr. Godot. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack.
Found your pen at last, right?
It was in my pocket. Ahem. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenelg, and the waitress, from behind only.
Yes, your point, Mr. Wright?
I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenelg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show.
What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well?
The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her.
Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed?
Had to be Viola.
Who is this woman?
Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tender Lender. You's making a big mistake. Do you know who Violetta's grandfather is? You'd better be going home in an armored truck tonight if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. What? Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, had stated the following. Well, when I took coffee over to the victim's table, it's true there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy. She had kind of a cackling laugh. There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table who nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when the eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There's only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice. Once for real, and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, was you.
Witness, what have you got to say? Oh,
that's cute.
Sorry?
You's alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay. I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give yous one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? Yous got it all wrapped up nice, alright? But yous missed out on one real important thing. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him. You see it?
What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre?
What a troublemaker.
Troublemaker?
Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony.
Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify.
What?
There you go. What happened that day at Trebien between yourself and the victim?
Yeah, I loaned El Cash about $100,000. That day, we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yeah, I won $500,000. He's got luck, you know? Real luck. If that waitress hadn't done what she'd done, everything would have been over. Now,
Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elg was $50,000.
Yeah, well, you's got the vig to take in the accounts. Interest builds up fast, you know. That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal.
And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question.
Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, and you ain't got no case. His motive? He has to have one, but what is it? Loaned him $100,000, due to have a little chat. Kid has hit his payback date. I think that last statement he had me sketched out. If that waitress hadn't done what she had done, everything would have been over. What did she do? The waitress, you mean... the girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little bit on this. I want to know what Maggie did. What exactly are you implying the defendant did? How about you go ask Four Eyes about that ticket of about that $500,000 ticket? She wanted it so bad, she poisoned Elk's coffee. A likely theory. Your word hasn't held water lately, Mr. Tigre.
Objection! Let's not forget this waitress was actually at the scene, Trey.
The law don't exactly agree with some of the deals I sent down. I could be there when the cops showed up, so I split.
I see.
Your Honor! The witness's last few statements are worth a good 2 cups of coffee.
I concur. Mr. Godot, you will amend your testimony, your witness's testimony, accordingly.
So that's what you's after, Phoenix Wright. Thanks to what she did, my business with that kid was over. What? It wasn't, though, because of this. Or this. Either or, I think, would be fine. That altered testimony is weird. Business with the kid was over just because he won the lottery. No, you were there for this. We found it in your office. I'm presenting MC Bomber. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement?
I'm not sure I follow you.
It clearly contradicts the I thought.
You don't sound very sure, Mr. Wright. Objection overruled.
Damn. I don't think that won me any points with the judge. Okay. Yeah, let's see what Maya says. So the Tiger was meeting Glenn Elg to get his money back. Mr. Elg had just given him the lottery ticket. That would have been the end of it. Yeah, so what's the Tiger's motive? If I don't manage to undermine this testimony, it's all over for us. Why would he have to poison Mr. Elg? And why did he loan him the money in the first place? When he knew he couldn't repay him? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I could try pressing the news statement, yeah. Hey, Rose. I'm gonna press the news statement. Tiger's trying to pin the crimes on Maggie. If I ask him about what he saw, it's only going to damage our case. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are yous all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my 100,000 bucks back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before the waitress got in the way.
As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Well, Mr. Wright, are you happy with the testimony, or would you like it amended?
Amended? I couldn't do anything before. Your Honor, the defense would like to amend the testimony. I was after the $100,000. I didn't have no other reason to kill the guy. Okay, now it's gotta be. Now it's gotta be. There's no way it's not. So you just intended to get back $100,000 from Mr. Elg, correct? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were after.
Objection! What are you getting at, Trite? What else would a moneylender be after other than money?
Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch. Ugh.
What is that?
A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber.
A computer virus? What do one of those do?
A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer.
A computer? What does one of those do?
I guess that beard isn't the only part of His Honor that's from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market.
Several $1 million?
Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elg had no way to repay money is crucial.
What?
Glenn Elg was a programmer. A highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection! You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get hold of that program?
Exactly.
The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, Trite. A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder.
Of course he could, provided that he had time. But what if he needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear.
It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigre need money to the tune of $1 million?
I don't know, maybe the $1 million expensive medical bills. In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. What? Where did yous get all this info? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. Payment for these expenses was due in December of last year and was paid in full.
$1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue these HMOs.
No one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue.
But Mr. Tigre had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it.
Order! 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 You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright?
Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini.
Did you say Cadaverini?
Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire $1 million Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glenn Elg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glenn Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then the miracle happened. The kind that Tigre would prefer to say never happened. But he can't. Neither can I.
The lottery win?
Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on that all-important CD. At least, no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means.
That's crazy.
He murdered Glenn Elg and then made his next move, to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigre posed as Glenn Elg, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Godot.
Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept out of it.
But Mr. Armstrong knew all about it. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godot? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plans. Nice. I didn't even get to read what the judge said. He got growled at too hard. You put on a good show, Spiky. If you want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid, created a witness, and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. What? Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out.
What? Another one? Mr. Wright.
Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? What was the trick Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused?
Are you looking at the amount of health I'm gonna lose right now? The trick he performed to frame the accused, I think the most logical assumption is the fake lawyer badge, the posing of me as Phoenix Wright. The whole reason we're here in the first place, excuse me, this old trial.
What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation.
Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me!
What? That's
the truth.
But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you. Standing in here this very court a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put up the most disreputable, shabby defense I had ever seen.
Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him?
Whoa, actually? Hey, forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that. No, not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? Have you no pride, sir?
This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court, we deal with people's lives.
Yeah.
Mr. Godot is right.
Your Honor?
Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over the court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without enough evidence to support it.
No!
If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive.
But we've come so far.
You say he impersonated Glen Elk. You say he impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence left that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee.
Yeah. Heh. Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get mauled. You got that? All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit, but I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt.
Looks like I won't be needing a refill.
I just had one more piece of evidence. One more piece of evidence, and I could get Maggie off the hook.
This witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tigre.
What? Thank God. Your Honor, sir! Wait!
Detective?
Detective Gumshoe? Sorry, I took so long, pal. I stocked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this too.
What is it, Detective?
Isn't it obvious, pal? It's the final piece of decisive evidence.
What?
January 8th, 2:48 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby Number 1. Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results back from the lab. The results? About the prints, pal! This medication bottle! Oh? So do you know who the prints belong to now? Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know! So tell us! They're the tigers, right? I knew it! You bet. Clear as crystal all over the bottle. They're Furio Tigre's paw prints, all right. That's great. We've got them now, Nick.
Little man.
What's wrong with you? Hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now. Huh? What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glen Elk's coffee. He already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on the bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now. I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. This was our last chance to help Maggie. And I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I guess I'm just a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie! You've been working on something for me? Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe, wait! He's gone. Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick? I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. Oh, God. Okay. Let's see if we can't figure it out.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor?
I granted you a recess so you could prepare this decisive evidence you discovered.
Yeah.
Don't keep us all in suspense, Trite. Show us. Naturally, we can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we?
Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time are yous gonna waste? I ain't never been to no court before, but yous lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion.
No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright.
Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here. But maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit?
Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present the final decisive piece of evidence to the court.
This is the defense's final piece of evidence.
Isn't that the victims?
Your Honor, naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre. What?
But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information?
Everyone in here knows what that bottle contains except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. My prints are on that pansy-looking bottle? Is that what you was saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway? A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues? Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tigre, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains... This is the bottle containing the potassium cyanide!
Potassium cyanide?
The poison used to murder Mr. Elg, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You know, you would make a good clown, you know that? What? You ain't never gonna get this to stick. You was just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the tiger, you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown and it was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it. Pardon me? Pardon me? That's seriously how this case is gonna end? Are you kidding me? No. That is so stupid. That is so stupid. Why does case 3 of every game have to suck so hard? Oh my god. What? Why has everyone gone quiet? Oh, I just admitted I was guilty. But yous ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy-looking suit fool you, people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Godot. Tell that guy where to go.
You still haven't figured it out? Don't you realize what you just said?
What did I say? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. Change up. If the court's gonna be stupid,
then Phoenix Wright's getting a high-pitched voice now. Yeah, I'm Phoenix. I'm Phoenix Wright. I talk like this. You were summoned to the court for the first time earlier today.
this is kangaroo court.
You really had nothing to do with the murder. Shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what the bottle of potassium cyanide looked like.
Oh no! Oh, I shouldn't have.
But just now, you slipped up, Tiger. You slipped up in front of every single person in the courtroom. You know, you shouldn't have described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison.
Oh no, you're right. I totally shouldn't have. I'm the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped up suit get the better of me? Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer, it was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. Tough words. Oh, he mad. Did his roar break the lights in the courtroom?
What's going on?
It looks like a blackout.
Well done, Trite. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it while you watch your caged prey.
Right, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. The prosecution will be sure to take care of Mr. Tiger, won't you, Mr. Godot?
He's being arrested.
He's being arrested on, the suspicion of the murder, Your Honor. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney.
Yeah, she was. Totally.
And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake.
Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that meddling testimony he gave himself. Furio Tigre is a truly frightening criminal.
Heh. The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there.
Doe.
Well, I am now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird, not guilty.
Oh yeah, hooray! She did it! Not guilty!
That is all. Court is adjourned.
Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago, but now I feel like I can forgive him. It wasn't even me, Maggie. It was the tiger. We just proved it in court. Look, Nick, in the doorway. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, guess I'll be heading off then. See you later. Wait! Detective Gumshoe? Oh yeah. Congratulations, Maggie. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony then? Huh? Oh, well, I was... Well, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around. Wait up, detective. He just ran off. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we even got the medication bottle. That wasn't even any use. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can't you put in a good word for him, Nick? Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie, you know, Detective Gumshoe has been really worried about you through all of this. I wanted to believe that, sir, but on the first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He had to report the facts. He doubted me. That's why. He thought I might have done it. I got to prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. I knew these wieners would come in handy. Here you are, a present to celebrate your freedom. That's a present from Detective Gumshoe, made with a ton of love. He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe? I actually really like weenies, you know? Word up, sister. You guys hear that? I'm pretty hangry myself, you know? Yeah, that trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if I eat this now? So, how is it, Maggie? It's really good. Ridiculous. So, the case of the phony versus
The genuine really comes to an end. You know, the false allegations surrounding
Maggie have all been cleared up.
and so is her plate.
And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. There we go. Done. It's over. I'm very upset. That case, like, wasn't that bad, you know? It was an enjoyable case all the way up until the finale. You know, that reminds me of the time I watched the Adam Sandler movie Click, where it's like, oh, the whole movie was pretty decent and tugs at your heartstrings a little bit, and it's a dream. And the whole movie's a dream. I'm furious. Not actually. You know, it's fine. Case 3 in the games usually sucks, but that sucks extra hard. This is officially my least favorite case of any of the cases I have played so far. Just because of that ending. Literally my least favorite case of any of them. Oh, look, here's evidence that doesn't actually get you anywhere. Oh, hey, look, you're gonna bluff your way to victory. Hooray. Garbage to your case. But you know what? Great game still. It's still fun. Or it's still good. We'll move on to the next one another time.